At our request, you took the book to the Hanoi Hilton when you visited Hanoi.
Yes, I did.
Tell me a little bit about that experience. If you run into any challenges, or just tell me what happened.
No, but I think it's interesting that I carried that book around for a solid month. My time in Vietnam was part of a larger trip to Southeast Asia, and my time in the Hanoi Hilton was the very last day of my time in Vietnam. So it was, everywhere I went, I was reminded that I had to take this book and make sure that I had a picture taken of it, so that Bob, when I got back, wouldn't kick my butt. The thing about the Hanoi Hilton is, first of all, what I didn't know is that it was already an existing prison before the Vietnam War. Both the French had used it for political purpose, personal prisoners, and then the Vietnamese later on used it for their political prisoners, and then ultimately where they put the American prisoners of war. The second thing is that the part that the Americans were in, for the most part, is all gone, but they still have one particular section of the prison where they had American POWs that they use for exhibitions. The third thing was, it was probably one of the few places I went to where they used it for propaganda purposes. Even to this day, 40 years, almost 40 years after the war is over, where they're still pushing their story about how great communism was and how they were, the war for them was a war against imperialism and aggression, when in reality that might have all been true, but it was the North invading the South and using their military conventional means to reunite the country under armed aggression. The Hilton, the Hanoi Hilton, I think would be more meaningful for somebody who had been there and experienced all the terrific agony and pain that accompanied it, because no question about it, they were tortured while they were in prison there. But it's also a reminder to people that war, freedom is not free. These men, these pilots and air crew that were shot down over Vietnam and brought to the Hilton went through incredible, horrible times. And yet, in spite of that, lived by the code of conduct. And they were there to take care of each other, and they were there in prison, but even though they were going through some very, very hard times, they suffered indignities and agony, they still served honorably as prisoners and understood what it meant to serve honorably and with dignity and take care of each other, knowing that if they did that, they'd get out together and come home. And that's why they're heroes.